All right, Pilsy, let's save the best for last, okay? We have to. But we're going to go to a fan favorite now, Artem Zub. Now, Artem Zub had a difficult year when it came to injuries. There's no question. A broken jaw doesn't sound fun.
Oof.
Eating your meals out of a straw, brutal. And he did it doing what he's been known for over the last 2 years with Ottawa. Eating pucks, being physical, being a solid defenseman. But in that case, yeah, it cost him a lot of momentum building in his season. Now, Artem Zub overall played 53 games last year, had 3 goals, 7 assists, good for 10 points. The Corsi numbers, always good for Artem Zub, 52.1%. The expected goals percentage, pretty low, 47.3%. He averaged 20 minutes and 15 seconds. And Pilsy, most notably, last fall, he signed a 4-year extension at $4.6 million. So Artem Zub this past year was only making 2.5. So I think it's important to keep into account when you're thinking expectations. It's like, oh, he's a top 4D. He needs to be better. Well, hey, he was kind of being paid like a third pair guy. So are you asking a little much of a guy with not a whole lot of NHL experience? Or was it injuries that derailed? But I think that the fans were pretty split on this one. 48.8% of the fans at Sens Central on Twitter gave him a B grade, but 44% gave him a C. So he's right in the middle there, Pilsy. How would you assess last season for Artem Zub?
I've got Zub rated as a C, just because he wasn't that stable, steady guy that we're so used to and that we grew to love this season. And 100% breaking his jaw had something to do with that. Now, I know people are like, well, you don't skate with your jaw. What's that all about? I think it's more a mental aspect, right? Like you're timid, your mouth hurts, you can't eat properly. I'm sure you can't sleep properly. Like I've never broken my jaw, so and I'm also not a doctor if you're wondering that, but I got to imagine breaking your jaw just on a day-to-day standard throws everything off. So I'm giving him a lot of leniency, but I think a C grade is fair just because he wasn't able to do what he usually did. Like Artem Zub was that guy when this team had a horrible defenseman. Anybody that played with them seemed to have their game elevated. That wasn't the case this year.
And when you look at before the injury, 2 goals, 2 assists, 15 shots on goal, and 10 penalty minutes in 14 games before the injury. That was almost half his points through the first 14 games of the season, right? It really felt like it kind of made him a more passive defenseman. And that wasn't the only injury, right? He had a lower body injury that kept him out for almost a month. It was like January, mid-January, all the way through until the end of the All-Star break. He came back against the Edmonton game. Ironically, that's when Forsberg went down, and then he's defending and trying to be a shutdown defenseman with rookie goalies, and that's got to weigh into your mindset to an extent where it's like, hey, I got to help this guy out as much as possible. I got to, and then maybe that's why I kind of like retracted into a shell of like, because there is some offense with Artem Zub. Now, I'm not saying he's going to put up the numbers he did in the KHL where he was like putting up consistent 25, 30-point seasons. But I do think that with the shot he has and the offensive instincts, there is a little bit more to his game. And I'm hoping we see that more next season, because if the pairs are what we want, if you're also leaning Chikrin Shabbat, well, then you've got Sanderson with Zub. And we know that Sanderson is defensively responsible as well. Not saying that that takes away from his offense. We'll get to Sandy. We will. But I think that with Zub playing with whether it's Shabbat or whether it's, Branny for a bit of last season, he's had to be the defensive conscious on that line. And I think whether it's Chikrin or Sanderson, if it's one of those two guys, all of a sudden he's not going to be looking to his left and be like, where's Shabbat? Like, is he up? Is he side? He'll be able to kind of use that and be like, all right, well, now I can elevate my offensive game. So my goal for Artem Zub next season, not only, of course, stay healthy, but I'm circling like 20 points. I want to see him get 20 points next season and show a little bit more offense and confidence with the puck.
Yep, and that's fair. And I think him and Sanderson will make a really nice pair. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to find how much time they played together this year. Sanderson and Zub. Do you have it in front of you?
I'm loading it right now, so I'll be able to tell you. Artem Zub teammates in 2021. The most was Thomas Chabot, 468
Oh, here.
minutes.
Okay, I
And
got
then
it here.
yeah, you got to go all the way down to 200. So he played double the amount of time with Thomas Chabot than he did with Jake Sanderson, who was the next most common partner.
Yeah, so Sanderson Zub played 239 minutes, decent numbers, a Corsi 4 of 50.34, so that's right where you want to see. And I just think the reason, Ross, and you kind of raised your eyebrows at this, that the reason I have Sanderson and Zub as that top pair is they're going to be able to shut down opponents' top lines. And not only shut them down, but you mentioned you want to see more offense from Zub, and Jake Sanderson is a great player in transition. So I think they're going to be able to get through those top lineups offensively as well. So I just think it makes so much sense. Jake Sanderson is ready to be a leader and on ice time, as far as I'm concerned. And I think as a pair, they have the makings of a good pair. And like I mentioned before, for whatever reason, maybe it's my own personal bias, but I did not love Zub and Chabot as a pair together. So I think this works.
How confident are you with that top four going into next season?
Very. I mean, where other than having three left shot defensemen in the top four, I don't see any kind of holes or issue. And I think they can be among some of the better top fours in the league.
Yeah, I really have that expectation for their decor, and that's such an X factor. You can talk, excuse me, you can talk all you want about the bottom six forwards, about the goaltending, but you need the defensive structure of this team to be better than it's been in years past, whether that's the coaching making changes or new coach coming in, whatever it is. But Artem Zub, I know he's not an offensive defenseman, but I'm going to keep kind of harping on that a little bit because I just think, I mean, we were so fired up. He scored that goal in the home opener, right? I
Yeah,
think
that
it
was
ended up
good.
being the game winner. Like I want to see a few more Zub moments from last season to this year. But this is a guy who, I mean, now like he's an NHL. He's played 181 NHL games. He's got good results on bad teams over that. And he had 22 points last year, Pilsy. So when I say I want to see 20 again next year, I don't think I'm asking for him to like take 3 steps forward. I think just being the steady guy that he's been in years past, I'm confident that he'll be able to bounce back after last season.
Yeah, exactly. So with a full season and hopefully not another broken jaw, I think things are looking good for Zoop.